Okay, this is Gamer Blave, and we are back with another episode of Jagged Alliance 2. And this episode is going to be structured a little bit differently than the pretty much every previous episode, and hopefully any subsequent episode. Because, for one, I'm recording this dialogue, or monologue, I guess you'd say, after the fact here. Because I'm going to be cutting this video up. It's not just going to be straight play. And the reason for that is this is the bugs episode. As we saw in the previous episode, if you were watching that one or if you missed it, Deidreana said that she was going to stop feeding the creatures. So anyway, in between that episode and this one, the mine here in Grum started to show signs of creature activity. So in this one, I go down and I attack with basically everyone. I send our squad one after they've been healed, and I also send Blave, Ira, and Dimitri down in there as well. So here I'm just kind of finalizing those preparations and making sure that we've got, because I remembered from the previous time that I'd played that Hollow Point was really effective, and I know that I hadn't quite stocked up a whole lot of that, but we had a decent bit of it, so brought all the Hollow Point that I had. But anyway, here's where this kind of went awry. I remember, obviously this is something that really sticks out in my mind from when I played before the sci-fi thing, because this is a very I would say unique element in the game. It's a very stark contrast to the whole tone of the rest of the game is the creatures. But there was nothing in my memory that prepared me for how difficult this was going to be. I just ended up getting slaughtered viciously. I know what you're gonna say, that's kind of ridiculous, because after I got slaughtered, I was like, man, I do not remember this being so challenging. I don't remember these guys being so difficult. I remember them being tough, but I don't remember this being so outrageous.
I'm here, Cap.
But there were two sectors, the final two sectors that you have to go into in the mines, and I'm going to show you kind of those parts. It just drops you into a wide open spot, and the creatures have a much further. they can see much further than you, so you can't see. So like your best, even with the night vision, you can't see them. They can see you, and they can shoot at you. So like your best bet is to either maybe throw some blindly throw some of those brake lights out maybe, and try to spot them. But it just didn't really
I'm into it.
It didn't really work for me. But yeah, we were just kind of spawned in this, and you get swarmed by these guys, and they're super powerful. So I looked up to see if anyone else was having the trouble, and no one did. I actually watched a couple of videos of other people doing it, and it seems like other people online were just getting other maps where you can get around corners and really deal with them in a much easier fashion. So I don't know if it's randomly generated or if it's just the Grum mine that just happens to be bad. I really don't know what the issue is, but I had some issues, and I'm going to go ahead and show some of them to you. Okay, so here is the very first time that we encountered the enemies. This will just give, if for some reason you haven't, if you haven't seen the creatures before, this will give you a little bit of an idea of how tough they are and how much damage they take.
I hate insects, even the ones you can squash with your foot.
Holy lucky strike! That looks like the worm at bottom of tequila bottle. I would not like to see bottle.
Now, one of the nice things is about like this particular variant here is it has to charge in for melee, and
You called?
I think that there's like a slight color variation in between them, but like honestly, I couldn't really tell. So, you know, pretty much you can just tell whether they're going to be shooting at you or charging you for melee based on whether or not they shoot at you. The stuff that they shoot at you is pretty nasty.
You
now,
called? I've always hated insects. Spiders are the worst.
So
Fried squid.
Good show, Dimitri.
yeah, so with a bunch of people shooting at one of them, you can take it down. You can take it down reasonably well.
Good.
You can take it down reasonably well. But let's go on.
You
Here.
called?
Okay, so even though they're fairly tough to kill, we basically managed to get through a good chunk of them until we get down to about here. And this is where it all starts to go awry. Now, as you can see, we just came through the hole right there, and we spawned in this area. And they immediately start to attack us. We don't have time to go anywhere. And now, granted, you know, they're... I don't necessarily do the greatest things. I'm trying to throw some lights around and get some kind of eyes on them, but
Okay, got something there.
you know, we'll get a look at some of this because it actually kind of turns into a protracted thing where basically everyone gets seriously jacked up. But let's see if we can get at least some idea of what's going on. But anyway, what I'm trying to do here is, since I saw that only one shot immediately happen, is I'm trying to get behind this little thing here and avoid its shot. But this turns out to be a fatal error. This turns out to be a fatal error, as you will see.
Is good.
But yeah, I mean, look at that. It's just there's just tons of. I mean, they're all over the place. They're all over the place.
Crap.
I mean, we're completely surrounded right from the get-go, and it doesn't get any better than this. It certainly doesn't get any better. And this isn't the last sector either. The next sector is considerably worse than this one. We're gonna get to that. So, as I said, I ended up needing to do some very scummy, scummy things to get through this. The only other thing I could come up with was like, well, I would have to load the game back. You know, maybe like right when we came into Grum, or even before we came into Grum, and you know, come up with some other kind of approach. And I was like, I really don't want to go like far back, because I mean, I didn't know, I really couldn't come up with a way to deal with this. I was like, this is basically this would basically be game over if I couldn't load it. I mean, I did try it like multiple times, you know, quote unquote legitimately, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, look at all this crap. I mean, maybe if I had like a whole bunch of like 10 rocket launchers on everybody, I don't know. But I mean, it was just outrageous. It was outrageous. I saw a couple of people say that there is like some NPC you can find somewhere where there's like an elixir that you can get that like masks your scent, which makes it really hard for these guys to see you at range, which that would help. But the fact that they can see and attack you from really far away really hurts you on this map and the next one. But anyway, you can pretty much see how this one's gonna go. They're all around, and even more of them come in, and this one is just goes from bad to worse. But anyway, let's go ahead and skip to the next one, because the thing is, we can sort of get through this one, but we are severely crippled. We are severely crippled by the end of it when we go into the next one, and I'm going to show you that one right now.
Bugs are
Okay,
hideous.
so here we are entering the very last sector. What I'm doing, since we're not getting attacked right away, is I'm just looking around. I kind of assume after that horrible last map that maybe we just have to deal with the final,
What did I hear?
the final
Big
boss
worm.
type thing. But then I get kind of unpleasantly surprised by you know, what ends up happening here. So at first I'm like, well, you know, maybe there are only these little larva guys, which, you know, they can do a decent bit of damage to you, but at the same time they're pretty easy to kill. So yeah, when I'm like, I'm trying to see if there's like a little place where I can maybe get behind some junk and get an angle, but it really doesn't look like there's a really great one. I'm looking at that, I'm eyeballing that corner over there. I'm like, well, maybe I can huddle up over there and make them come around that corner, because, you know, really, you know, how do you cut off their sight? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How do you limit their sight such that you can see them, you know, at least the same time they see you, but you know, alas, there's not really a phenomenal way to do that. So it really ends up being a struggle fest. They get super pissed. They start coming down. Anyway, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this one to where it gets to the meat and potatoes of it. Okay, so here is where it's going from bad to worse. Ice is dead there next to Wolf, and here comes just a ridiculous quantity of them showing up. And yeah, I mean, just look at this.
Yeah, that could have been
Just look at
bad,
this.
but I got me some kick-ass karma.
This was pretty
Too close
much
for comfort.
where it became completely apparent. This was like the final straw here, where I was really deciding that that I needed to. That there was no way that I was going to do it unless I adopted my new strategy, my new strategy, which, you know, wasn't really a strategy of you know, saving it and basically saving it every single turn, and then I would do something different, and if that thing didn't work exactly how I needed it to work, then I would just load that save and then try something different. That was how it ended up working, and that's the only way that I got it to work. But anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and cut to the very final boss here.
Hideous.
Okay, so here we are, right outside of where the queen is, and you can kind of hear the nastiness, which is well, the sound that she makes. Now, what I want to do here is, because we are going to have to use a strategy that involves killing her without looking at her, I'm going to first move Dimitri up, and we're going to take a look at the queen, just in the event that you have not seen the queen before, or you know,
You called?
want to remember what the queen looks like. Here we go. We're going to take a peek, and then I'm going to load the game, just so we can see the queen alive in all of her wonderful glory.
Land squid.
Okay, there she is. And the reason that we can't look at her is because I don't have anyone who's high level enough to get initiative on her.
Poor Dimitri.
And surprisingly enough, Fox, after all this ordeal, is now our highest level mercenary at level 5. So that is actually kind of interesting. So anyway, what we're going to do here is, you can see I'm going to try to throw the TNT in there, and then I'm going to quote unquote remote detonate it by trying to throw some. Okay, so we're just gonna keep throwing grenades in here and trying to blow up the friggin' queen for a little while. I'm just gonna advance time just a hair here, But yeah, as you can see, Dimitri is struggling a little bit to hit this thing. I'm chalking that up to him being a little bit wounded, because but it doesn't really matter if he misses just a little bit, because, you know, some splash damage from the grenade is going to hurt just as well. But let's cut ahead just a little bit. So what I just heard was that someone else was alive and kicking out here. Now, that really shocked me, because I really figured the massive battle that we went through to get here would have attracted everyone in the thing. Now, I'm a little bit more confident right here, because there's this little bottleneck here that that they'll have to go through to get to me. So I'm not terribly concerned about that. Am planning on taking the detonators off of the TNT, because you know, occasionally we find TNT without detonators, so there's no real reason to blow up the detonators with the TNT in this case, since we are not since the detonators don't add any value in this equation, especially the remote detonator. So we ended up using 3 TNTs. Now, oddly enough, we actually found an additional TNT down here, and we ended up having to use we ended up using all 3 TNTs on the Queen right here, and we actually did this strategy on a cluster of the Crepitus as well, to try to wipe them out. But
slinkies are around.
Surprisingly enough, it doesn't actually kill the Crepitus. It just does, like, you know, 50 or 60 damage to them. So I mean, it's kind of disappointing, but
what did I hear?
It still does some decent damage. Yeah, at this point I decide, since Dimitri is missing so much, I'm gonna replace him with blood. Even though Dimitri has expert throwing, I want to get blood in there to and hopefully he's going to do a little bit better for us. So sadly, we are using an immense quantity of our resources here, but hey, you know, we need to get the job done. Need to get the job done. And was that our third one? I actually wasn't counting just now, so I think we may have another one. Yeah, we do have one more. At this point, I'm starting to sweat, because I'm like, well, we're running low on grenades and we're running low on these TNTs.
Ugh, some bloke was in a barney here.
I am liking Trevor, but at the same time, I still am going to really miss Barry.
I'm from family of good learners.
I surprise myself sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, so a number of our guys got some levels here.
I heard they taste like chicken. I get to find out.
Yeah, we get to find out. Okay. So that is
It looks like your version of a raid worked, man. Can't find the bugs anywhere. The men seem glad about it too. We're all back in business. Between you and me, though, they come back, we're out of here.
Well, looky here.
okay. So that is some jelly that you get. Now, that is not as good as the jelly that you can get off the body with the jars. Now, in retrospect, I actually wish I brought more jars. I actually can't remember how many jars we brought, but I do fill up all the jars that we got. I don't know if you necessarily need to see that. You just put it in your inventory and click on the or you put it in your hand and then click on the body, and you just do that with each one of with each one of your jars.
Yes.
So basically, you know, that's the situation. Yeah, you can see I'm doing that with Blave here, and then I just do that with all of our jars. So we can apply that to, I'm going to do that with only Spectra items for the Royal Jelly. Mostly Spectra vests and, possibly Spectra helmet, Spectra leggings, things like that. But anyway, guys, yeah, I am sorry about the format of this one, and I do apologize. I apologize that I did not have what it took to get through this one in the normal fashion. There you can see we do have the coated Spectra vest, and to my knowledge, and please correct me if I'm wrong, to my knowledge that is the best armor that you can have in the game. We're also going to pick up those jellies over there, and those are going to be kind of the second best. That's the second best armor you can have in the game if you coat a Spectra vest with that. So that's kind of our consolation prize there. Still good stuff. Still good stuff. Anyway, guys, sadly, I mean, you know, we did get through this one. It was a huge pain in the butt to get through. I mean, believe me, if I could have just gotten through it without having to do all the saving and all that other stuff, I mean, it took me so much longer to do this episode than it normally would have. And it's taken me so much longer to put it together in terms of making the video than it would have normally. Because normally I just, you know, load the video up and then you know, send it out. But, you know, now it's just been so much more of an ordeal. This one ended up just not being pleasant. I didn't like it. Here I was checking to see if we could actually destroy these egg sacs, and it doesn't look like you can. So we are going to move on with our lives. But anyway, guys, as always, thanks so much for watching, and we're gonna catch you in the next one.
Yo.